Hi, this is Deborah with another Swell Spotlight. I've been thinking a lot about Swell as a community where we are doing lots of listening and using our ears and dropping into that space. And what that actually means in terms of how we're using that particular sense. And recently I noticed an update of Tom Corwin, who just was the music supervisor and editor for the music of a very important film called Brave Blue World, which is based on an organization co-founded by Matt Damon called Water.org. And the film features Matt Damon, Jaden Smith, Liam Neeson, and it premieres on Netflix. You can see it on Netflix. But what I was thinking about with Tom is how he transitioned to become a guy that's able to do music supervision and music production, and what that journey is like, and sort of talk with him about how we listen as a society and where music and sound plays a role in deepening our experiences. Tom, thank you so much for being here on Swell, and I just want to let people know that Tom is a really accomplished bass player, and he played with Patti LaBelle, Booker T, Bonnie Raitt, and then at some point he focused his attention on producing and recording. And Tom, I want to start there. When did you make that leap? I don't know if it was a leap or it was just a slide off the stage into the studio. And how was that for you? And I'm asking specifically because people are always making changes in their careers. And I'd love you to talk about that change in your career, that time in your life, and how clumsy was it? How graceful was it? How are you feeling? And sort of the psychological landscape of really moving to that place, and how organic was it? Because that's sort of the origin story for you that I really want to learn about. So looking forward to hearing about that.
Thanks, Deborah. Let me just start by saying Brave Blue World, the film, is not actually about Water.org, but Water.org is featured among the many, great and innovative approaches to solving the water crisis. And one of the great efforts being made around the world to resolve this issue. Regarding the question about my career and shifting from playing and touring to recording and producing, it really was fairly organic. I always had a lot of interest in recording and always did it to some degree, and got more and more involved in it while I was a performer as well. But there came a point where after, years of touring and playing, honestly, as lovely and fun as it is to perform around the world, and I feel very lucky to have been able to do that, you travel for sometimes days to play an hour or two. And depending on where you're traveling, that can be lovely and really exciting, or less so. And I became intrigued with the idea of staying home more, honestly, and looking at doing that by more producing and recording, which I could do at home or in my area where I live, which I love very much. So around that time, I became very close with Bonnie Raitt and sort of fell into this nice groove of producing primarily her guest appearances on other people's records. And that became a really strong relationship and strong friendship, and I ended up doing about 20 different records with her, which is a pleasure and allowed me to work with some other great artists.
It always looks like it's sexier than it is, and I'm really glad you brought up that point initially about the struggle, to be on the road and not be grounded and not have the nest that I think is sort of a primary need for being human. But how lucky we are that you got out there and brought all that knowledge back into the studio. And I imagine that's that kind of liveness, that vitality filtered into how you recorded in all those years. And I want to kind of stay in those years, which is for a few seconds, a few questions before we move on to some current philosophies. When you work with someone like Bonnie Raitt, where there's a very strong style that she has that she wants to capture in the studio, did you find your ability to put your imprimatur onto that experience, how much were you feeling at that point, a sort of a collaborative energy at the board while she was in the studio? Like, what's that like, and how do you measure your ability to bring in your ideas while respecting such a great voice like hers?
Bonnie and I had a really strong and simpatico working relationship in the studio. My part having more to do with really being authentic and truthful about the takes and whether I felt like they landed or whether they could land better, and we'd keep going until we both felt like it was there. We got what we wanted, both in her guitar playing and her singing. And then when it came to mixing and comps, she was very trusting and allowed me to make decisions that I felt strongly about, and we agreed most of the time about what those were. And so it was a very successful and long relationship. And after 15 years of working together, we're still really close.
I love how collaboration has sort of been a theme this year, particularly because people are bringing in so many different modalities of skill sets that weren't maybe present when we weren't working remotely. And this year, people have come into the playground, if you will, with each other and said, here's what I do, here's what I do. And there's been a lot more innovation and creative work, I think. And when I think about your work just in the audio space and kind of hearing your way through life, I kind of want to drop now into this sort of realm of your perception of sound as a underestimated line item in lots of budgets and as an underestimated element to our experiences. And I know you're a creative director and you do lots of different kinds of work with clients. Can you talk about sound from the perspective of its place in our consciousness?
What that makes me think of is one of the tools or colors that I like to use in some of the live events that I produce, which are what I call audio portraits, which are on the street profiles of people who've benefited from the work of a particular organization. And they're like This American Life stories, profiles on the street set to music, really personal stories that can be incredibly moving. And I'll tell the audience, or have the host of the event tell the audience, that there will be an audio moment this evening, and we hope that you'll just close your eyes and be present for it. And in a lot of these events, which are featuring high-level talent and world stage thinkers, these audio moments can be incredibly powerful. They engage the listener as a co-creator in the story. Audio stories can be the most powerful movies. And there is something about it that sinks deeper, even deeper, than a full spectrum video.
I love the sound of audio portraits and how you use that as an immersive element at an event. Swellcasts are perfect for that. So I'm really, first of all, I know how busy you are, and I'm so grateful that you spent time with us. And perhaps on your personal Swellcast, you will start gifting us with some audio portraits, or having a Swellcast version of audio portraits. I'm really looking forward to hearing, what that might feel like. So looking forward, please stay in touch on this channel. If people have questions, they'll ask them here and you'll get pinged. Otherwise, we'll all look out for you on your Swellcast channel and your voice in other conversations. And I'm just so excited as we launch this new platform to have people like you on it would be such an honor and so cool. So hope to hear you in the near future. Thank you.